All right, well, today is an exciting day. Today we are beginning what we're calling the TC Drive Time podcast.
Yep.
And I am here with Ezanya.
Hi.
Ezanya is going to be leading at times, co-hosting sometimes. I'll be involved sometimes, but she's really going to be leading this thing, interviewing people, and I'm excited about it. I really am.
Me too. This is awesome.
It's cool.
It is.
I don't hear a lot of people. I've talked to some people, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are some churches that maybe do it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't hear a lot of churches that do it.
No,
So
not a lot.
I'm okay with being the church just like we're doing it.
No, well, not in Louisville, so I'll say
That's
yes.
true.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I wanted to be in this one for sure because I wanted to share the kind of my heart behind this.
Mm-hmm.
I talk a lot. I'm talking on this podcast. I
Okay.
preach in front of people, and people listen to me a lot.
Okay.
And so one of the goals, I guess, my heart behind this was that I would get to hear from the people.
That's good.
And I wanted to provide an avenue that people could share their stories. They could talk about what Jesus means in their life. And I wanted to hear the regular, normal person, not the pastor, not the preacher, not the worship leader.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear a mom that stays at home and takes care of kids.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear of the businessman, the businesswoman, the person in the normal, regular marketplace,
Yeah.
sharing the place of Christ,
Mm-hmm.
and then just letting the world hear how the Lord's working in their life.
Yeah. That's good.
And that was my hope. That's my goal behind this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's overly complicated. I do
No,
want
it's not.
the church to get to know one another through this. That's another reason. I mean, legitimately, I think it will be as people get to hear stories of one another, and they'll see each other on a Sunday or see each other on a Wednesday and go, I know you. You're famous, right?
Right.
You're going to be really famous.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
You're gonna be the star. So, but for people to really go, I know that person, and hopefully to find some kind of encouragement. That person's at the same stage of life that I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
and if God's working in their life, then God can work in my
Okay,
life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good because it's very I would say it's a little bit difficult sometimes if you know as a Christian and you're working with a lot of people who do not know Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I'll probably say, holding me accountable too, to share my faith and also live the godly life. At the same time, I know that there is someone who is living Christ-like somewhere else and they could do it, and it's not going to be, I would say, difficult for me because then, like you said, if they've done it, then I could do it. So
Sure.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Which probably we should just lead in then this
Mhm.
way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to know a little bit about you. You're going to be leading these. You're going to
Okay.
be co-hosting at times. Tell us a little bit about you and the family.
Okay. I am married. I have been married for,
Uh-oh.
I kind of gauge it with how old my kid is, my oldest. I've been married for 7 years. We have been friends for close to 20, maybe. Or
Nice.
close to, well, I would say about 15 years. We've been friends for that long.
Yeah.
I have 2 boys, and I have a twin brother who lives in Chicago.
Oh.
My mom lives in Nigeria, and I have a lot of cousins and aunts who all live in Nigeria too.
Nice. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know the twin part.
I have a twin
Identical?
brother. Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's older?
He is by
He
3
is.
minutes.
Okay. 3 minutes. That's great. Now,
Yeah.
okay. So tell us where you're from then.
I was born in Illinois,
Okay.
and I grew up in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I would say I have dual citizenship.
Nice.
Mhm.
Now, when you say you grew up, from what ages?
From about maybe 5 to almost 21,
Okay.
I was in Nigeria, or maybe even younger than 5. I can't remember. My dad was a student in Southern Illinois University. He was doing his master's program, and I believe my mom was kind of maybe teaching there too. I really don't know all the gist of that. But when he was almost done with school, when I guess my mom came, because my mom was, I heard she was in France. She was studying also French in France, and she came. My brother and I were born here in Illinois in Kentucky. Here, we were born in Illinois when he was there. When he was done with school, we went back to Nigeria because his uncle promised him a job. He died less than a year, right about a year after he went back to Nigeria.
Hmm.
We didn't come back until um,
Your uncle?
my dad's uncle
Okay, your
had
dad's uncle.
promised, because my dad studied agribusiness economics,
Okay.
and my great uncle, his uncle, has a huge farm.
Okay.
So I heard he told him to come home. He'll give him a job. He got home. When my dad went home, we all went with him.
Mm-hmm.
He got sick and he died, and we didn't come back
Gotcha.
for almost what?
Years.
Yes, yeah.
So when you did come back, you came straight to Louisville?
We went back to SIU. We went
Okay.
back to school.
Okay.
Southern Illinois. We went back to school there. My twin and I came
Okay.
back.
Gotcha.
So
When did you move here?
2007, right? What? 2 weeks after I graduated from college.
Okay. Great.
Mhm.
And you graduated with what?
Physiology degree and a minor in chemistry.
Nice.
Mhm.
You're one of those science people.
Yes.
I'm the cliche English history person. I'm glad some people like math and science. I am not such a person. So
It's okay.
it's okay.
It's okay. My mom is a literature person, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
So, when did you come to faith? Like, where did Jesus kind of enter the story on this?
So my grandparents, my mom's side of a family, are were elders in the Presbyterian Church.
Okay.
So we have always been, we are a Christian family, I'll put it that way. We always go to church and stuff. But I remember in high school, there was this preacher. So I went to, it's called Federal Government Girls College. It's an all girls high school, or junior high and high school. We had services in the evenings, I think some days of the week. But I do remember some preacher would come and they'll talk about getting saved, and I didn't know what it meant. But
Mhm.
it happened when I was in high school.
Nice.
Um,
Early or later?
early, because I think junior high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And you've been walking with the Lord steadily since.
Yes. I mean, I've had a few moments where
Yes,
like,
the head nod.
I've had a few moments where I'm like, oh, what is this? I mean, I do remember when we had, I think I remember a situation where it kind of really sunk in, was when we had boarding houses, and I lived in the boarding house, which is where you leave off campus in the school,
Mhm.
and your parents come to visit on visiting days and stuff. We had no water, no electricity. We had to go to fetch water. So now this is the streams of Calabar, which has rivers, and there's stories of mermaids and spirits and all of that.
Oh wow.
So we had gone with a group of people who knew the rivers, and they told you, be careful, if the water takes you, you're going to end up in a different state. That kind of situation. So I was already petrified going.
Mm-hmm.
I went to fetch water, and water was dirty and murky. I didn't care. I was like, I don't want a crocodile. I don't want anything to get me. I'm getting water and I'm coming back out. So I came back that night. I had the weirdest dream ever. And we went to church the next day, and I think there was a call to faith or someone to give their lives to Christ. I was like, I want to give my life to Christ. I do remember one thing that I think I did every Sunday until a senior, a high school student, we call them seniors, reminded me. She's like, look, you don't have to keep going every Sunday, because I mean, I was petrified after that event.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, once you've given your life to Christ, you have given your life to Christ. You don't have to keep going every Sunday. That kind of thing. But then I remember I got baptized. I remember because there were two positive numbers. February 2000 that's when I got baptized.
Nice.
And that was in Nigeria.
You know, you were really close to having all the characters in Peter Pan. You had a crocodile, you had a mermaid.
I had
all
everything.
you needed was a flying boy somewhere,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
I'm telling
and
you. Yes.
Pixie dust, right?
Yes.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, stage of life.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you at right now? What's going on in your life right now?
I work in hospital. One of the lab supervisors.
Mm-hmm.
I work full time, and I'm also a mom. Married, and
Which is like multiple full-time jobs.
yes. So I would say caffeine. I don't have my coffee cup. Caffeine growing up. Well, there you go. You know what it is. So
I'm gonna have my coffee.
it's like I am always busy. I would say I'm at a place in my life where I am always praying. My son looks at me, he's like, Mom, what are you saying? I'm like, Obase combo, Obase combo, Obase combo. Meaning God help me, God help me,
Uh-huh.
God help me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have two personalities. When I'm at work, I'm like, all right, I gotta be nice, I gotta be helpful. When I'm home, I'm like, you can't do that. Well,
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm like,
Yeah, to your
"Ta-
husband.
no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. My husband
I'm
is a
joking.
saint. I'm the crazy one in the family. I would
I'm
say that.
joking.
But I mean, having toddlers and growing kids
Mhm.
is very different from when you're at work.
Mhm.
Because adults, you can tell them or just ignore them. For kids, you can't really ignore them because, well, you probably get yourself in trouble.
Sure.
So I'm at a stage in my life where I feel like I'm praying more and I'm learning to rely more on
Yeah.
Christ because I really don't know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
It's one thing growing up in Nigeria. I have aunts, I have my mom, I have people to rely on. Here, I'm more of a
Yeah.
Lord help me because I really don't know what I'm doing.
Sure.
I call my mom when I have questions and my
Mhm.
mother-in-law when I have questions too. But a lot of the times I'm like, God, I need your help kind
Yeah.
of situation. And he's faithful. He has helped me. So,
That's a good, I mean, it's a good prayer.
mm-hmm.
God help me.
Yeah.
It's a
So
pretty good prayer.
that's where I am right now. I mean, work is busy, very busy. We are at a stage where what is it called now? The Great Resignation,
Mhm.
and we are trying to train in house, and we're kind of like making a mold that didn't really exist before. So there's a lot of things we're trying to figure out to try to make meet needs and demands of our profession and do it right. And then I come home, I'm like trying to figure out, okay, what is healthy that we can eat? Or
Sure.
pizza, here we come. I used to say, oh gosh, what is
Hot
that?
Pockets.
Well, I haven't got there
You
yet.
got to get to a Hot Pocket. I'm a
Right.
big Hot Pocket fan. To
Yeah,
everyone
I
listening
like
here,
I like pizza. Jet's pizza is my jam.
it's the best. It's the
Just
best.
yes.
I don't care what
So
anyone
if you can
says.
hear us, Jet's pizza, yeah.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Pastor Tim
Yeah.
likes other types of pizza, but I'm a Jets fan.
Yeah.
And they give you those little text codes too where you can get the
Yes.
discounts.
Every Friday. Yes.
That's where it's at. So,
Yeah.
so we've heard how you came to faith. We see
Mhm.
what's going on and what your prayer life is, which is pretty much God help me.
Yes. Yes.
Which again, I want to encourage everybody who's
Yes.
listening. That is a suitable prayer
Yeah.
to go, God help me. And we kind of go through into a lot of different things for help,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's medical, we go to the doctor, we go to other people, we go to family and friends. And those things are not necessarily bad. We're not saying they're bad in any way. It is good to say, Lord, I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he brings us to a place where we have no choice
Yes.
but to go, you're going to call out to me.
Yes. And it's good to be in that place. Because
Yeah.
I would say I remember when David, Psalm 119, I don't know exactly what verse, he said something about it's good that he was afflicted
Mm-hmm.
because he learned to rely on God.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably paraphrasing. But every time I read that, I'm like, it's kind of weird though for you to say
Sure.
thank you God for smacking me
Yeah,
so
sure.
I can rely on
Thanks.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, God.
But then if I guess you look at David's relationship with God and
Mhm.
then you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, everything pointed back to God and that was what it all meant to be called a man after God's heart. So
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think it's the heart of God to say, what I really care about the most is, do you really love me, and do you know me, and do you know my love, and
Mm-hmm.
are we in relationship together?
Mm-hmm.
Are we in friendship together? And so I'm thankful for those moments. We all have those moments,
Mm-hmm.
and David definitely had plenty of his. I'm doing a
Yes.
study on David, and David had many, many moments where he had to cry out and go, God, I need your help.
Yeah.
That's it. You're it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were in the caves and in battles and all kinds of ways. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a good prayer. So tell me about like here at the church, like and not just the church, but the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
What's God doing in you right now? I guess besides this podcast, right? I mean, you're doing the podcast.
Yes.
It's a legitimate way
Mm-hmm.
of getting testimonies out there, of getting the kingdom of God spreading. So what else is God doing in your life right now at this season of your life, ministry wise, kingdom wise, purpose wise?
I would say I'm serving at the kids' church nursery.
Okay.
It is.
I would never do that. I'm just throwing. I'm called to preach, called to teach, not with children. I'm just throwing it out there. So kudos to you.
Um, when I didn't have kids, I'll put it this way: when I didn't have kids, I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to do that," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Okay, now I would say it's a cultural thing for me. How do I explain it? I grew up in Nigeria. I did spend time with kids, but they were family. My mom has 7 siblings, so I
Okay.
always had little
So
ones.
small family.
Yeah, very small. So
That's it.
I mean, I remember. I mean, I had cousins and all of that.
Mhm.
But coming here to the U.S., it was like, okay, I would give you an example. The first time, I would say I was leaving the elevator after work, and this kid, I don't know if he's ever seen a black person before, kind of looked at me, was like, ah! I was like, yeah, I get you. That kind of situation.
Mhm.
So he is like, okay, I have to be careful where I'm like, some kids, is it okay for me to watch them or not watch them? But anyhow, different
Mhm.
story for a
Sure.
different time. But when I got married, I saw an opportunity to learn how to teach them about God by serving in children's church.
Mm.
So again, I don't know what I don't know,
Yeah.
but by watching other kids, we get curriculum from church. We get prayers, how to pray for them while we're at church.
Mhm.
So that's for me was the one way to learn about what is a God book to teach my kids,
Sure. Yeah.
or how do I pray for my kids. So I serve in children's ministry and worship when I can.
Mhm.
Um,
So you serve by serving in the children's ministry, TC Kids Ministry here at the
mhm,
church. You have also learned things about how to parent your children
correct,
at the house. Oh, that's great.
correct.
Well, that's
So
a goal. That's one of our goals. I'll say it.
that is one thing. I mean, there's the app on Roku TV, Bible Man,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
Bible Man,
Mhm.
um, church
I haven't
ministry.
watched it. I'm just leaning into you on that one.
So
So there is a song, Bible Man.
there's a show actually, Bible Man.
Okay.
They could some of the what's it called, graphics may be a bit cheesy, but
Okay.
the lessons are on point,
Okay. Yeah.
and it's a good app, or it's a good show to watch other
Good.
than YouTube.
Yeah. Good.
So
Good.
I learned that here at Children's
Great.
Church.
So that's what you do here.
Mm-hmm.
How has your faith kind of made its way into your workplace? And what do you do and what you do at work? You kind of mentioned it a while ago and being kind and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. What's that like being at work full time and trying to be a shining light for Jesus?
Okay. I have being kind is a lot. I am put at a role where I again pray God. I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I need your help. Um, I had a situation. I'll give an example. I had a situation where I had to choose to do. I would say do what was right, and I told them. I told the team that I fear God. I will not do what somebody's expecting me to do that is not right. First, I fear God, and two, have human resources. So, well,
Mm-hmm.
my faith is my driving force. Where yes, the people come today, I do and would probably always encounter people who are rude, who for what I look like, who I am, may think less of me, but that's not my problem.
I would think accent
Accent, or
sometimes.
they, I mean, I have to be careful because we all wear masks.
Oh.
I literally would have to take my mask down because sometimes they're like, you can read it on their faces, like, I don't understand what this person is saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I have come to a place where my faith in God and my belief that I am made in God's image,
Hmm.
you can't talk down to me, or you would not treat me less than who I know God has made me to be.
It's giving you confidence.
It has given me confidence.
Hmm.
I do have moments where I am would be very busy at work, and then I remember, hold on, what did you read today? No, I didn't have a quiet time. That's why I'm stressing out at work.
Okay.
So I go back to, Lord, I'm sorry. I have been so busy I forgot to spend time with you. The little bit that I spend time with God, because sometimes it gives me encouragement, like reading about being strong. Haven't I told you to be strong?
Yeah.
So there are moments where, we're super short staffed, and I don't know how we'll get the work done. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, God, we did it.
Yeah.
So I would say it's helped my faith by, I try to keep a positive attitude, because at the end of the day, God is in control.
Yeah.
So people always ask, why are you always smiling? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
God is good.
Good.
I'm not dead.
It's
That kind of
a
thing.
good thing. That is
So,
always a good thing.
so
Yeah, so confidence and,
Yeah.
and just encouragement and identity, and
mhm.
I'm sure that that's a powerful thing at times. That everybody needs confidence.
Yeah.
We all have moments. Every time I get up to preach on a Sunday morning, I'm nervous before I get up, and
You
in
don't
those
show it, but
I am nervous. And I have to just, I don't know why that is. I wish I had explanations for all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, but in those moments, I have to sit there in that worship time and just
Mhm.
pray to the Lord and go, Lord, I know who I am in you, what you've called me to do.
Mhm.
And so I think everybody can take confidence from that there are going to
Yeah.
be times in your life where you're probably going to need to just draw confidence from Him.
Yep.
All the natural reasons why you should be confident kind of fall away,
Mhm.
and you just got to draw it from Him alone
Yep.
and say, Lord, I'm found in you. So
Yep.
what would you say? What would you say to somebody who's listening to this podcast just here at the end as an encouragement to them, maybe even about confidence or something you've learned about God, and just as a final encouragement to them and their faith and where they're at in life, maybe even if they're at the kind of same position in life you are, mom, working, whatever.
Yeah. You can do this. It's not easy. I think my motto right now is with God, all things are possible.
Mhm.
Not enough sleep, but you still wake up and do what you have to do because you got God on your side. You go to work half awake. Coffee may not even be strong enough, but you can do
Cold
this.
brew, cold brew.
Some
Starbucks shout out there too, by the way.
There you go. Yes. God can help you. Just like Jesus said, with to man it's impossible, but with God all things are possible.
Amen.
That's the one thing I would say. Don't quit before you even try. Trust God and do it.
Yeah.
You would be surprised what God will do with the little bit you give to Him to help you achieve, I guess.
Great. Yeah, you can do it. That's good. That's it.
That's it.
That's our first podcast.
Oh,
That's
we
not
did
bad.
it. No.
Yeah, so maybe you're out there, if you're listening to this, remember what she said. You know, God, you can do it with God. With all things, even the impossible is not impossible to God, right? He made all things. He can do it. He's creator. He can do all things.
Yep.
So don't give up. I think a phrase I've kind of adopted recently is, don't you dare give up.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like the word dare in there, but don't you dare give up, because you can do it with God. He can get you through this and this season, this time, this difficulty, trial, situation, whatever it is. So thanks for being on here, and
My
we'll be hearing
pleasure.
a lot from you.
All
And we're going to be interviewing a variety of different people here. We're going to be hearing their stories. It's called TC Drive Time because we want you to be able to drive
And
to
listen.
and listen. Yeah, we are recording this on video. Please don't watch the video while you're driving. I don't want to be responsible for that. But that's my little disclaimer here. But we do want you to listen to this and find encouragement as you listen to people who are similar to you. And we're just trusting that the Lord's going to speak to you, minister to you, empower you, and equip you to be everything God's called you to be. So thanks for taking the time, and we'll see you next time on the TC Drive Time podcast. God bless.
God bless.